Hey, what's up YouTube, Dan the Fix-It Man. Got another quick video here for you. I'm going to show you how to change your rear shocks on a 2018 GMC Yukon XL. Now these are just the standard gas charged shocks. These are not the air ride or the magnetic ride suspension. You can see that this one's blown or a lot of the fluid is leaked out here. So we're going to go ahead and get these swapped out. Now I like to lift the vehicle here first. Always be safe, and I've got wheel chocks in the front there. And I have jack stands here, so I have the entire vehicle resting on that, and I was able to just use the jack to lower the axle back down. The only reason we're doing that is so we don't have to fight too hard to compress the new shock to put it in. Now you can lift this up and take the wheel off if you'd like. I'm going to try to do it with the wheel on. I'm just feeling a little bit lazy today, and I think it's possible to pull those bolts out and swap these shocks out without pulling the wheel off. I'm also going to leave the inner fender liner on. I've seen another video where someone took this off. Lots of little screws and clips that hold this on, but I think we can easily get to that nut there without having to pull this fender liner off. Now if you live in a really rusty area, you might want to take some time and spray those bolts before trying to remove them, and I usually use PB Blaster. This is not a sponsored video, but this is great stuff. It's a very good penetrating oil, and it will help you break free a lot of rusty fasteners. Just get a little bit on that nut or bolt, and that will really help you break that loose. So I'm just going to use a 21mm here on a breaker bar on this side. Now on this side I'm just using a deep socket 21 just for the length, and then a short extension and a 1/2 inch ratchet, and we'll just reach this up through here. It's kind of by feel, but just need to get onto the head of that bolt, which we are, and then just break those loose. Just to make it go quicker, I'm just going to use this ratchet after we've broken that loose. All right, there's the nut. All right, I'm going to leave that in so that this doesn't fall out on me while I loosen up the bottom one. Probably should have done the bottom one first, but that's all right. So it's a 21mm. Again, on either side down here. And we're just going to zip that off real quick. Hang on to that nut. Now, because I have the suspension drop down, this is actually pretty loose in here. So all we need to do is just kind of wiggle this, and the bolt comes right out. The shock's coming out easily. So up above, I still have the other bolt just sitting in there. Just gonna reach up and pull that out with the socket, and the shock just drops out of the way. So here's the old shock. Let's just push down on that just to give it a little test. Really not much resistance there. Now, if you don't have the suspension dropped, you'll have a really hard time putting this in if you take off this strap, but I already have it dropped, so I'm going to pull the strap off of the new shock here. Let that extend. Now these are Monroe OE Spectrum. Pick these up locally. Part number is 911506. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing, just push down on this, and that's a lot harder. That is a bit of a challenge. That is tough. I can't really even push that down all the way. Definitely a lot more solid than the existing shock. I really couldn't even compress the new one here, so let's go install it. All right, so we're going to start with the top here. I'm just going to fish this bolt through. There we go. And we'll get that nut started. All right, I'm just going to get this snug for right now. I'm not going to tighten this yet. All right, now the bottom, we're all the way down to where the tire is touching the ground. So I could have pulled the tire off to get a little bit more droop, but I'm just going to try a little pry bar trick. See if that'll work, which it did. And that's easy enough. So now all we need to do is line this bottom bolt up. Perfect. And then we'll get this one started. Same thing, we'll just get that snug. Now the torque spec that I found on these is 85 foot-pounds. There we go. All right, that one's in. Looks good. Let's go do the other side. All right, so on this side, you can see the muffler's kind of in the way, but you can still get to it pretty easily right through there. And we'll have to do the same thing. Come up through here, this side of the muffler, right over here to get on the other side of that shock bolt. Again, we got on it no problem on this side of that fender liner. On the other side, you can see we have these lines right here that are in the way. See how that socket and extension is going through these lines right here. This setup here looks like it's going to work just fine. Let's go ahead and break that loose. There's that nut. I'm going to leave that top bolt in while we do the bottom one. Okay, we'll just give this another shot of the PB blaster. We'll just use the big impact and take this off real quick. There we go. Now, if it doesn't come out real easy like that, you can always use a pry bar to wiggle that around, but this came out no problem. All right, and then what I'm going to do is just push out that top bolt. There's the other side. Here's the new one. Right back up in there. Now the bolt was still kind of up above, so I'm just going to see if I can push that through here. If I can line that up. There we go. There, we got it started. Get the nut started on there. Okay, so we got the top one in and started, and you can see this one's tricky to push in, but a pry bar is your friend. Just get that up in there. Get that in there and get it started. There we go. And that started on there. Then we'll get this torqued to 85 foot-pounds. Same with the top one. Get that torqued to 85. All right, and you're done. This was the leaky one. Pushes in real easy, but it comes back out. This is the passenger side. This wasn't leaking, but it pushes in like nothing and doesn't even push out at all. So that one was dead and the other one was leaking. The new ones, I couldn't even push them in with my hands. So this should be a much nicer ride. Both shocks are on, looks good. We'll go ahead and let the vehicle down and give it a quick test drive, but that's pretty much everything. Remember, if you live in a really rusty area, you're gonna wanna hit it with something like this. PB Blaster is just such a great brand. This stuff really will penetrate in there and help you break those loose. In our case, they weren't really rusted or stuck at all. They came right out. But I hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't mind. That does help me out. I'll get a link in the description to some of the parts and tools used in the video as well. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck.